So Pharma down across the board. Capricorn down 17%. Palantir down 7%. SPY down 150 bips now. Things are worsening quickly. Some of our favorites like ADMA down 10%. Vaxcyte down 54% on some bad news there. Some stocks not reacting. Anavex, SLS. Jazz is flat, but plenty of other stocks down a ton. Biohaven, interesting. CRSP basically can't stop going down. It's CRISPR Therapeutics. Never liked CRISPR Therapeutics myself. Rocket down 15%. My old company Travere down 11%. Chimera down. Sarepta down. BioNTech, of course, down with Moderna. I think only a couple of pharma stocks up. Bristol Myers, J&J, and Amgen. The companies that have drugs for sale don't have a problem here. But I'm sure they want FDA to work too. So yeah, I think, we've been bearish on this channel, as you guys know. Doesn't mean there aren't going to be stocks that go up. Doesn't mean that there aren't going to be stocks that outperform the stocks that go down. But it's a rough time right now. It's we've had a debt fueled expansion for a long time, and we can do the irresponsible thing and kick the can down the road and fuel more debt, and just keep selling more paper, which we are doing anyway. But somebody has to take a hard look at what we're doing with the government. I think we'll be bullish when stocks are cheap. I think you can't have no growth stocks trading at 40 times sales, 40 times earnings. That's high yield prices. That doesn't make sense. If you can buy a bond for the same price, why and be senior in the cap table? Why wouldn't you? So yeah, I think the surprise FDA situation, I think there was an expectation that RFK would serve as sort of a just a figurehead, and by him getting involved deeply into matters directly, I think there's some concern there that I think that's the hope, that was that he'd be just a figurehead, just whining and dining, hanging out around DC and just sitting out his 4 years, just doing nothing. But if he's going to actively be guiding policy, I think that's pretty dangerous. So we got a lot of things happening, right? You have tech under siege via overinvestment and high valuations. You have biopharma under siege. It's not a small part of the S&P through potential regulatory actions or inaction. You've got sort of global industrial and manufacturing sector potentially under siege through tariffs. And you've got sort of deleveraging or, sort of fiscal spending unwind in addition to deleveraging kind of happening. So both fiscal and monetary kind of working against you. So yeah, a lot of reasons to be bearish. But we'll see. Market recovering a little bit. S&P only down 115 bips now. Corcept also still retaining a high price at 97. What else is going on? Yeah, some recovery in our quantum shorts. D-Wave barely down at this point. But have no fear. That'll continue to drop, I'm sure. Crazy QUBT, is just a menagerie of shorting. Kind of shorts all bumping into each other on the way down. Or on the way up, too. Yeah, there's just a lot of shorts in QUBT. It's basically a worthless company. But remember, who is allowed to short sell? Who has the money to short sell? It's largely hedge funds. And hedge funds have gotten to a position where hedge funds can barely take any risk. And at the pods that control a lot of the equity market, those pods may have been short QUBT, and they're basically being asked to delever. So you might have a lot of short covering in QUBT and other stocks like it because there's just a lot of folks that are short and they can't hang in due to different dynamics. I mean, maybe sometimes the rest of their portfolio. It could be the firm is having a rough year. So crowded shorts are going to kind of outperform because the crowded shorts will have to sort of get rebalanced, and you don't want to be short a crowded short in general usually, but sometimes they're good shorts, so you just sort of have to ride it out. But I think that's what's kind of going on in a few stocks, more than a few stocks actually. Okay, so it does look like the cyclical peak earnings. So when companies that have business cycles, which is sort of a old school term, some of you guys have never even seen a business cycle, which is hilarious. We used to say that in 2000. In 2000, we used to say, "Oh, you kids have never seen a bear market," and oftentimes it was true. And so a company like Caterpillar is called cyclical. What does that mean? It's pretty simple.